In a world where AI is making art super fast and it's really scary, you might think, I want to draw faster. How do I do that with my own human hands? And you've come to the right place, because I am very fast at making art and drawing in particular. I know so because all of my friends and managers at my art jobs have said so. I have confidence that I'm really fast, and I don't fear tight deadlines too much because I have confidence that I'll get it done. So here are all my secrets on how I have learned to draw really fast. First off, the biggest thing is you just have to practice a lot. I know that sucks to say, but you're not going to be really fast overnight. It's mostly a mindset, and I'm going to talk about that later. But just like the physical act of drawing really fast, you have to build muscle memory, you have to build control with your pen, you have to just fill up your mental library with a lot of visual information through observing and studying. So practice is not a step that you can skip, but we can definitely talk about that another time, and this time focus on the mindset part of it. Like, what can you do and what can you change today to start drawing faster right away? Odds are, if you clicked on this video, you want to learn how to draw fast. So why? What's so much better about being fast versus drawing slow? Drawing slow, you take your time, you make sure everything looks perfect, you make a really nice piece. But drawing fast, you might have a lot of mistakes, or you might not have thought things through so much. Yeah, you have more stuff, but is it good stuff? Well, my argument is not everything you make needs to be perfect. Actually, being a perfectionist hurts your confidence as an artist. A lot of my artist friends have the same feelings about being afraid to draw in front of others, being afraid to draw in public where people can see them. They have more unfinished pieces waiting to be finished than actual finished projects to show off. So being a perfectionist is actually keeping you from drawing. And to get better as an artist, you just have to draw and draw and draw and make more things. So to draw fast, you need to draw confidently. And to be confident, you need to finish things. You need to prove to yourself that you can have an idea for a project and see it through to the end, no matter how long it takes. Giving yourself little wins helps build that confidence. So sitting down to draw something, even if it's imperfect, you'll still have something in the end to look back at. For me, the thing that's scariest about working on art is wondering, am I making the right choice? Is drawing this line the right line? Is doing a panel this way the right idea? A lot of people get stuck on the idea part. Not because their ideas are bad, but maybe they have too many ideas, or they're not really sure what the best one is. But all you can do is make the best choice in the moment. What you think is the best choice is the best choice for this right now. Maybe in the long run, in the future, or maybe right after you finish drawing and you put your pen down and take a look at the piece, you might think oh, that was the wrong choice. But the fact that now you could look back and realize there was a different, better choice shows that you've grown. Because in the moment, that was the best choice that you could have thought of, and you went with it. And the fact that it's so easy to see and so clear later means you've gotten better. So to get better, you have to do that a lot. You have to draw a lot and learn from each drawing. And don't let it intimidate you. You just have to be okay with being imperfect. And when you're okay with being imperfect, you can draw anything whenever. You could sit down and draw something on a Post-it note and be like, I drew that. And I think that's what people find so impressive about my speed. It's the confidence, not the actual time that it takes for me to make something. Instead of spending time worrying or being afraid, I try to put it towards actually working on the piece. And it's still something that I'm working on learning today, because every time I'm working on my comics, I'm trying something new, I'm learning, and it's really scary. It's really scary to learn because you don't know what you're doing and you're so scared that you're going to mess it up and it's not going to be good and that you're wasting your time. But that's not true. You just have to stick with it and see the project through to the end. And then you'll be even better for the next project. So, what are some other ways to gain confidence in your drawing, which will translate into faster drawing later? So one way is having confident line work. A lot of beginner artists, including myself back in the day, draw with what we call like a hairy line. So it's like a line that is made up of a bunch of other lines that don't really line up completely because you're not very confident about putting the line on the page. Working with pencil for a long time, I was always able just to like draw over it darker or erase it, yada yada yada. And that's fine. But if you really want to like speed run line confidence, draw in pen. And you're gonna suck at first. Yeah, I know. It's just how it is. But you're gonna get really confident and really good super fast if you just keep working at it. The coolest thing ever happened in college. I saw my friend start doing this for the first time. He just kind of like did it on his own. I don't know what motivated him to just say like, I'm doing pen now. But he just got so good at drawing with pen. And there's no like undersketch. It's just like on the page, really expressive, really good stuff, you know? And I've just always thought about that whenever I think about like line confidence and drawing with pen and ink and like having a sketchbook. I was like, that's the way to do it. So that's an idea if you're looking to get more confident. It's just like put down lines that you can't erase, lines that you have to accept, mistakes that you can't spend a lot of time working around. And yeah, you might have like a lot of stuff that you're like, that was really bad. But by like making these mistakes and making more mistakes, you actually learn. Also, another thing about embracing imperfection is a lot of times when other people see your art, they're not going to see the problems that you see. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of art that you might really enjoy that the artist might see a lot of problems with, and they might not be completely happy with how it came out, but you might like it a lot. And I know this from like working in animation, is often there's so much time spent with this like nitty gritty magnifying glass trying to get every little frame to be absolutely perfect. And that's cool, you know, it makes really polished work. And I'm not saying that polish is bad, but like when the shot goes by in the movie, the normal person looking at it is not gonna notice the eyelid being like 1 pixel up, you know? It's just like these tiny little things that like you might like take a hit to your confidence because you're like, this isn't perfect. Like whether it's animation or drawing or whatever. But at the end of the day, when somebody's just like seeing your print, or they're like on Instagram and they see your post, or they're watching a movie and your shots in it, like it's just gonna go by really fast. Like people are busy and people aren't analyzing your stuff that deeply. And you're always your biggest critic. You're the one who's been staring at this thing for however long you've been working on it, and you know intimately all of the issues and all the struggles that you had working on the piece. But when someone else sees it, they're not gonna see that, you know? And this isn't to say like you shouldn't, you know, have feedback. Like you definitely should, especially if you're in like a collaborative environment or you're working on a big project with like stories involved. Like you definitely want to get people's eyes on it and get feedback. But like at the end of the day, as long as the idea comes across clearly, the actual like marks on the paper that communicate the idea, as long as it communicates, that's what matters. And like anybody can be, you know, snobby about style and like how something looks, and like of course you want it to look as good as possible, but like doing your best is good enough, especially when something just like doesn't matter as much. Like when you're just working in your sketchbook, it doesn't matter if it's perfect. If you're just drawing something like your D&D character or something like fun that you're just going to send to your friends, or even if you're just going to post it on Instagram or something, it doesn't need to be perfect. And once you get past that, you can be a lot happier with your art and a lot more confident making it. And when you feel confident, you think, yeah, I could sit down and draw that right now. Not like, oh, I really have to like fight my demons to sit down and get this done. Like another thing about working on like a long-term project too is you're not going to want to draw every single day. So like the advice of like draw every single day. Number one, you don't have to. Draw as much as you can and as much as you want to, but you don't have to draw every single day to get good. You know, there are benefits to it, but you don't have to like beat yourself up if you don't, you know? But when you're working on a long-term project, there will be days where you're like, I want to work on this, but like something's holding me back, you know? Maybe it's like a tough part that you're a little afraid of, or a tedious part that you kind of just don't want to do. But part of like finishing a project is to do it anyway, even when you're scared, even when you don't want to. For me, working on my comics, like I love making comics and I really love drawing and stuff, but there's always a part in the process where I'm kind of tempted to not finish it and like work on something else. Well, not finish it, but just like to get distracted and draw something else. But then I kind of tell myself like, the feeling that I'm feeling is I want to draw. So why not draw the thing that I need to work on? Like, why would I draw something else right now when I have this like energy? Like, let's not get distracted. Let's work on the thing. And then also sometimes I'll be really tired and I'm like, I can't work on this right now. I'm too tired to give it 100%. Or I'm like, I'm too tired to make good choices right now. I'm too tired to draw good. So the good thing about a comic, and I don't know what this would be like for like other art mediums, but like for a comic, there's always kind of like stuff that uses a little bit less brain. So like I've already like used a lot of brain power to pencil in and like sketch out the idea of my comic on each of my pages, right? But now I have to go in and I have to ink the boxes and ink the like word bubbles and stuff. So when I'm feeling really tired, I'll just go in and I'll just kind of mindlessly and like calmly just ink the boxes and the bubbles because I already know where they have to go. I just do that. So I don't have to have this like fear of like, oh, I have to draw this character, like their whole body and their face and their hands, and I'm too tired, you know? Just draw some squares and some circles. It's really nice and relaxing. And then I get a lot of work done, and then the page is kind of ready for when I'm ready the next day or the day after to come in and just like fill it with the art. You know, finding stuff like that when you're working on a project, like what is something that you could do and how can you think about your project in a way that you could put work in even when you feel like you're not in a space to give it the energy that it needs, so that you're always taking steps and working on it without sacrificing the big choices that are important. So yeah, drawing fast is about showing up and creation over perfection. It's about making a thing and trying to not be afraid of making mistakes. Like, you're human, and your human touch on this artwork is so important and so valuable right now. And making bad art is better than making no art. And this is also to say, like, whatever you make, if you're doing it bravely and quickly, it doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I'm just saying, like, comparatively then to something that you really like agonize over. If you do something quick, you know, I feel like there are odds that something could, you know, be amiss. But also, like, you can make mistakes even if you take a long time to make something. Like, would you rather spend 3 hours on a painting and there be mistakes, or spend 2 months on a painting and there be the same mistakes? Like, yeah, maybe the 2-month painting might have a little more polish on it, but like your main big choices, the ones that you learn from, those happen maybe sooner. As an artist, you could noodle something and work on it forever and ever and ever. Like, it's also about knowing when to let go. when to say like, this is good enough for what this is. If you're just doing a little sketchbook drawing, you have to know that it's okay to just like let that be, compared to like, yeah, if you're doing like the cover for your graphic novel or something, maybe you've got to take the time. You've got to really make sure that's perfect, right? But like one random page in the middle, as long as you do your best, you put thought into it. Obviously, like, you're not being brainless. But if you put the thought in and you do your best, like, don't beat yourself up. You're done. You did it. Move on to the next page. Especially for comics. Like, if you're making a book that's like 200 pages long, you've got to let things go sometimes. Not every single panel is going to meet your perception of perfection. Like, I was just listening to a podcast the other day about one of the books that Tilly Walden is working on that's coming out soon or something. And she was just saying how, like, sometimes an arm isn't perfect and she just draws it and she's like, well, and then she moves on. She's making like multiple graphic novels a year. Like, this is like a lady who's drawing fast, okay? And she's just like, yeah, it wasn't that good, but it's fine. It's small. Nobody's gonna notice. I move on. And that's like published stuff. That's like real good professional stuff. So especially if you're just drawing in your sketchbook or making stuff just personal and you just want to draw fast for you, relieve some of the pressure. Like I said before, art is such a mental game. Like speed, consistency, study, ideation, confidence, like all of this stuff comes from your mindset and how you think about your art and how you like approach making something. So I guess some advice that I have is to really reflect on how you approach your art and think about your mindset. Think about how you feel when you're making art and find if there's any places there that maybe needs an adjustment to be more in line with your goals as an artist. Because everybody's going to be different. Like, this video is coming a lot from my own experience and experience with people that I've talked to. But what's going to work for you and what's going to make you feel good about your art and what's going to help you get faster, like, those answers are within yourself. And as an artist, it's really important to reflect on who we are and what our art means and what we want to be saying with it. And you don't have to have it all figured out right away, but it's something that you should keep like returning to and trying to build on. My advice for somebody who wishes that they were drawing more and wishes that they were making more and wants to have completed work under their belt, my advice is to just go out and make it and to be kind to yourself and make mistakes, be okay with that, have fun, make something that you like. Don't try to make for others. Make something that you like, that you want to make, and stick with it until the end, until you have a finished piece that you could look back on. Because learning is doing, especially with art. I don't know if you've seen that like chart before, but it's like a really popular art one. So odds are you have, but some people haven't. I like told my friend about it the other day and she had never seen it before. I'll try to plug it into this video if I find it, but it's about like how you feel about your art as you grow, and it fluctuates between training your eye and your ability to evaluate art versus your skill at making the art. They don't grow at the same time. So as your eye gets better, you start to think, oh no, my art isn't too good. So you like perceive that your art is a low level, even if it's not. But it's because your skill at judging art has gotten stronger. And then you work really hard and you up your skill to surpass your eye, And then you perceive this high of like, my art is so good. I don't even know how I did this. I'm doing so good these days. And then you train your eye again, and then you get better, and you're like, oh, my art's actually not that good. I need to work harder. You feel bad again. And it's like this part that like fluctuates. And if you're spending more time consuming art than you are making art, so like if you've been in a rut or you've been like afraid to make art, because also like it could be caused by you have such a high expectation. Like you've trained your eye so strong and you have such ability to see what's good and bad that every time you look at your art, it just looks bad to you and you feel bad and no confidence, right? So the only way to beat that is to make art, to train the hand, train your skill, and it'll flip, Maybe the longer you go not making things or not finishing things, that chasm gets wider, your perception versus your skill. So yeah, as much as it's really important to be inspired by other art and view other art and read and watch movies and stuff, it's also really important to consistently be working on your own projects and growing your own skills so that you keep progressing in both aspects over time. So as much as I wanted to give you a simple solution to get fast at drawing right away, confidence doesn't come overnight, skill doesn't come overnight. It's something that you have to keep working on. But hopefully this video was motivational and inspirational enough to help charge you up, get you out there, and give it a try, to trust yourself and your creative decisions, and be brave with your artwork. Don't let fear stop you, and just make a ton of stuff. If you have any thoughts about my philosophy in this video, please share them. I'd love to hear how you approach this. And if you have any questions, I'd totally love to talk about this more in another video. So leave your suggestions below and subscribe for new videos every other Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.